Hi, it's Chris Todd here on behalf of the Master Innholders. I'm bringing you this short video as part of their brand new MIDAS networking and learning hub. It's basically a place where we just collate some amazing sort of educational content for those that are working in the hotel industry. Today we're going to be exploring the topic of personal finance, which, although not directly relating to hotels, relates heavily to those that are working or not at the moment working in the industry. With hospitality so heavily affected by the pandemic and the subsequent restrictions that have been placed on us, many of us have lost jobs, had our hours reduced, or at the very least lost out on things like service charge and tips, which for many is a really significant part of their income. I'm going to be catching up with my friend Mitch Collier, who's an ambassador for the amazing Hospitality Action charity. They provide amazing support for people in the industry, some of which is financial, but as well as that they also provide some education around just simple ways to make your money go further, which is what this video is all about. So Mitch is going to run me through their 7 sort of top tips for staying financially fit, and let's get into it. Mitch, hi, how you doing?
Very well, Chris. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you so much for joining me. So we are going to go through Hospitality Action's 7 steps for staying financially fit during this COVID sort of pandemic. And the first one is writing monthly budgets.
Yeah. So on the hospitalityaction.org.uk website, you can find a budget sheet. And on there, it's a really great tool for you to look at how much you're spending. So you can put caps on things that you would normally be going out and doing. So that the entertainment, food shopping is a big thing that you need to think about at the moment. Is a lot of people in hospitality have meals included on duty. So that's an expenditure they need to now consider when buying 3 meals 7 days a week. And you can then just basically have a look over that, look at what you can maybe kind of cut out and what you can afford to maybe lose, like the luxuries, and just kind of budget money a little bit easier and understand what's going out, where it's going to, and how much.
Yeah, great. It's a good template actually, isn't it? Because it sort of breaks it down into what you can't cut back on versus what you might be able to versus what you definitely can. So we will put a link to this particular budget planner in the description if you want to download it yourself. So the second then step, Mitch, is saving money, and I guess it's links to the budget planner, but it's saving money on bills and subscriptions. So any ideas there?
Yeah, it's something that I made sure that I looked at during the first lockdown was what have I got included in my things already. So for example, with my bank that I have my credit card, I have phone insurance, but I was also paying for phone insurance direct with my network provider. So that was a cost I was able to cut out in addition for paying for 2 insurances basically on my phone.
Yeah.
Also look at free trials. I know, if you're really not wanting to get rid of your Amazon or your Netflix, whatever it might be, look to see if you can get free trials for them through third parties as well. So my network provider O2, I can get 6 months free of Disney Plus. So for example, I can stop paying for that and use the free trial that I get instead with that. And also combinations of subscriptions as well. So things like Apple Plus at the moment, if you're really, really adamant that you can't get rid of some of those subscriptions, can you make it cheaper by combining some of those things instead? So it's just looking at, what is actually necessary for you to be paying for those services that you're adamant on keeping,
Yeah.
if you can't get rid of it in that budget plan in the first place.
I think that's a really important one, isn't it? The subscriptions, because certainly at the moment there's a big shift towards lots of subscriptions. So that's the way most people consume their telly, for instance. They might have 3 or 4 subscriptions, and you think, oh, it's only £6 a month or it's £7 a month, but when you've got 4 of them, it soon adds up, doesn't it?
It does, and it also comes down to the point that at that time you would have been in a financial position to pay for those and it would be okay, but now you have to look back at cutting back and, okay, do I need to be paying for Netflix for this month if I've already got Amazon, for example? Just consider that when you're doing your budgets.
So the third step is checking what you're entitled to. So what sort of things are people entitled to, Mitch?
So first of all, everybody in hospitality is entitled to support through Hospitality Action. So do please go and check their website out to see what you are entitled to and what support you could be offered. In the first lockdown, there was a period where I was without work. So I also looked at gov.uk website for benefits that I'll be entitled to. It's quite a taboo subject, benefits, and I know a lot of people are uncomfortable in taking benefits, but at this point, you are entitled to that help and you're entitled to that support from the government. So it is something you're going to want to look at to see if you can claim anything from that to help keep you going in the difficult times.
Yeah, definitely. If you've been contributing to this, if you've been contributing to the system through your national insurance for however many years, then you shouldn't feel ashamed of getting something back, should you?
Exactly. And if you are in a position of redundancy, have a look to see if your employee is willing to keep you on furlough. They are allowed to keep you on furlough and not pay your wage. It won't be an exact direct cost to the business, but as long as you're employed by that company before the 31st of October, you are entitled to furlough payments, and the company that you work for is entitled to claim that back from the government as well. So consider that, if unfortunately redundancy is being given.
Yeah, okay. And there is a government benefits calculator on their website. So again, we'll link that so you can have a look at that as well. So step 4 is about using payment holidays, and I think there's a double side to this, isn't there, Mitch? So it's use them if you need to, but don't use them if you don't need to, really.
Exactly. It's a payment holiday. It's not a payment break. So you are going to have to eventually pay that money back that you've stopped paying. It links a little bit into the consideration of, can you extend those payments again? So for example, some people might have a car on finance. If you're living in London, maybe not, but if you've got a car that you're paying for on finance, can you actually extend that so you pay less over the months, but you're going to have to pay for a little bit more? I know it's maybe not the ideal situation, but it is something you might need to think about. If you aren't able to keep up with those payments, can you reduce them but just pay them over a longer period? Or, as you've talked about, if they are allowing you to stop paying it for a short period as a payment holiday, just be aware of the APR and also the increase of the interest that then could happen if you are delaying that.
Yeah. So step 5 is working out which debts to pay off first. I guess not necessarily also just debts, it's also what bills to prioritise and things like that as well, Mitch.
Yeah, this comes down a little bit into the subscription things as well in the previous point. You need to consider what you have to pay without fail. So that's things like your council tax has to be paid. You've got to be paying your national insurance, that comes directly anyway, but there are things you have to pay. Your TV license, for example, you have to pay that if you're using Netflix and online shows. However, if you've got a subscription to, I don't know, maybe your dishwashing soap, there was a period where I did have that, where I could get paid £6 a month and I got all the dishwashing and detergents I needed. I don't have to pay for that. I can cancel that and I can stop paying it. So you just need to be aware of the things you have to pay for without fail, or you are going to face consequences, and the things that you're going to be able to cancel. One thing that people aren't aware of that can happen is if you cancel your phone plans, it might be one that you're considering, well, I don't really need my airtime plan at the moment, I can cancel that. There are clauses that you have to pay for the cancellation. So if you are looking to cancel any of them, just be aware of that it can incur charges as well.
Okay, great. And there's lots of sort of free places where you can get debt advice if if you've got different debts and you need to pay from different orders. I think Mitch, you've mentioned before about speaking to your bank. There's also Pay Plan as well, which Hospitality Action sort of partner with, I understand.
Yeah, absolutely. So having a financial health check with your banks, we've got great access to our banks through banking apps on your mobile, or you can call them up. And these people are there to help you. I promise you, your bank wants to help you. Your bank isn't just about making sure that they get interests and all this kind of stuff. They want to make sure that you are financially sound. So use that facility, use your financial health check, and team up, as I said, with Hospitality Action as well, with their third parties as well, because they are there to support you and help you to get the most from your money and not leave you in a financial difficulty.
Great. Okay. And then step 6 is, and it's an unfortunate one, but it's be aware of fraudsters who are, I guess, are more prevalent in times of sort of hardship. That's when they sort of come out of the woodwork, isn't it, really?
Yeah, this links a little bit to what I've just talked about in discussions with your bank, not being afraid of your bank. It can be very easy to be caught up in a spare of the moment, really quick fire, because that's what they're doing. They're calling you out. They're calling you out of the blue, or they're sending you an email, warning, warning, this is happening, or click here to do this now, and it pressures you to do it. Stop, take a second, because if you're really that much trouble, it's too late. So the best thing I can tell you to do is go to an accredited app, call the number that you've called before to speak to your bank, know who you're talking to. Don't trust the person calling you up straight away, giving you instructions to move your money here straight away. Email scams as well. Just be conscious of where the origin of that email has come from. Check to see that it's from a creditable email address and not just some crazy combination of numbers and letters, which is how they sometimes use it. But they are able to disguise that email address as a set name when you receive that email. So click that set name and you should be able to see a longer email address that would normally have the company's credentials in there, opposed to a random set of letters and numbers.
Yeah. And I guess don't be afraid to push back if you're not sure, or if someone's called you. The safest thing to do is to say, actually, let me call you back on a number that I know is yours, and I don't think any bank or reputable business is going to begrudge you for that.
No, and as I said, they're using that pressure of time to get you to do those things. And as I said, unfortunately, if it is the case that they're doing that, it might be too late. So don't worry, slow it down, speak to someone you've spoken to before, or call the number you've called before, or as I said, use the online banking apps on your mobile or online and get help and support that way.
Great. And then the 7th and final step is just keeping up to date. And I guess that's sort of keeping up to date with government advice, hot industry advice, all sorts of stuff, I guess.
Yeah, because unfortunately with COVID-19, it changes the restrictions and what we're entitled to and what's available. And the Chancellor is offering all sorts of different support all the time to different companies and individuals as well. So just be aware. The gov.uk website has got a wealth of information, and so does the hospitality.action.org.uk website as well. So check on there, take your time, look through that to see what's available for you, and just do a little bit of research as well to see what you're entitled to. And as I said, don't be afraid to reach out to your bank for a financial health check. Use the budgeting tool that was on the website, or create your own if you prefer. Just be conscious of what is going out, what is coming in, and what you can cut back on to help you go forward.
Great. So that's all 7 steps, Mitch. Any other sort of tips or bits of advice from you, from your own personal experience or from Hospitality Action?
Yeah, money can be scary. I'm to blame as well for sometimes that I'll just not look at my banking apps because I'm too scared to see how little money I've got left or how much is going out. Don't be scared of money. There is a wealth of support that's available for you, as we've talked about with financial health checks through your bank. The Hospitality Action website has got a huge amount of resources available for you. You're also entitled to some of the companies to an employees assistance program as well. Your companies will have subscribed to an employees assistance program. Some of them will be with Hospitality Action, which have even more support available. So just be aware of that. Hospitality Action has a huge amount available for you all. So just be conscious of that. And don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of money. Don't be afraid of the hardships that we're going through at the moment. But do reach out for support. Do reach out for help, because that's what it's there for. And it's there to make your lives easier in this difficult time as well.
Amazing. And I guess reach out before you get to the point where you're, in really big trouble.
Yeah.
When you start down that slope, that's the point to try and get on top of it, isn't it? Before it all gets a bit too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't be afraid of it. Get on top of it now before it gets a bigger problem. Because if you wait and you keep ignoring it, it's just going to keep stressing you out, and it's going to make you worry far too much, and it's going to make you unwell, and it's just a roll and knock-on effect, and it snowballs out of control. So get in control of it and don't let it control you.
So that's it. Hospitality Action's 7 steps for staying financially fit in 2021. Complete a monthly budget, save money on bills and subscriptions, check and I guess get what you're entitled to, take payment holidays if you need them, but just be careful around sort of interest rates and stuff like that. Work out what to pay off first. That can apply to debts or to specific types of bill. Be aware of fraudsters, and finally just keep up to date with the latest advice, guidance, support, everything like that. Massive thanks to Mitch for talking me through them, and also massive thanks to Hospitality Action for sharing them in the first place. Do feel free to reach out to Mitch on social media. He's on LinkedIn and Twitter, and as I said, he's absolutely happy to answer any questions. And if you want to hear a bit more from him and his sort of association with Hospitality Action, he recently did a podcast with Phil Street, so do go and check it out. This video has been produced by the Master Innholders as part of their MIDAS hub. Again, all the links to all of the websites we've talked about are in the description, and thank you very much for watching.